I was 38 years old the day I woke up and couldn't stop crying. My wife kept asking me if I was sick and where it hurt, and I wouldn't answer her. Couldn't answer her, because I wasn't sick and nothing hurt. I was just so sad. No, more than sad. So empty. Anyway, I saw a therapist, and I couldn't stop crying for him either. He finally told me just to talk through the tears. I was ashamed of myself, because all I could tell him was how great my life was. I'm probably the luckiest guy I know. Married, 2 great kids, no money worries, great job that I really like. Well, I take that back. I used to like it. I'm a financial analyst, and I used to love digging into financial reports and finding the hidden problems. But all of a sudden, I just didn't seem to care anymore. I wasn't watching sports anymore either, even though the football season had just started. It was the year of the big lockout, and my son and I had spent all summer stressing that there wasn't going to be a football season. Now the games had started, and I couldn't have cared less. And I had started drinking. God, I hated telling the therapist that. I really thought he was going to yell at me, but instead he just looked at me with the kindest eyes and asked if it made the pain go away. I bawled for the rest of the session. I was so embarrassed. I didn't even want to come back to see that therapist, but I couldn't think of anything else to do. He didn't seem to care if I cried. He just kept listening and asking a few questions. During our second visit, I found myself talking about my father, who had died 3 months earlier. Mom and Dad were pretty strict. That's what they called it then. Maybe today you'd call it abusive. My dad was always on me about something. If I scored 90% on a test, he smacked me for not scoring 100%. If I won the 100-yard dash, he made me practice 3 hours a day for the next week because I hadn't set a new record. Anyway, the therapist talked to me about how I didn't have to be perfect to be okay, and my kids and my wife didn't have to be perfect either. He kept asking if I had talked with my wife about the drinking, so finally I did. She wasn't shocked or angry like I thought she'd be. It was like a huge weight off my chest, and after that, I didn't want to drink as much. I still wasn't feeling much better as fast as I wanted to, so I asked my therapist about some medication I'd seen on a television commercial. He gave me a referral for a psychiatrist who wrote me a prescription for some kind of antidepressant. I couldn't tell a difference for about 6 weeks, but then I could tell that I was starting to get interested in things again. My son and I watched a whole football game together, just like we used to. I was doing better at my job, too, but I thought that was the therapy more than the medicine. Anyway, there were some side effects I didn't really like about the medicine. It made it really hard for me to be intimate with my wife. I talked to my therapist and the psychiatrist about stopping it, and they both thought it wouldn't be a problem. About 3 weeks after stopping taking it, I went through a rough patch, started crying again, and I called in sick to work a few days. My therapist said I could go back on the medicine if I wanted to, but he really thought I'd be okay if I just kept talking through things with him. So that's what I did. And in about 2 weeks, I was back to myself again. Better, really, because I didn't have all those feelings about being a bad husband, father, and employee. I'm different from my dad, and that's a good thing. I know he did his best, but his best kind of sucked. Thanks to my wife and my therapist, I'm in a good position to do a lot better, and I will.